Thank you for watching ECSO News on Blab TV, where facts matter. I'm Amber Southard.
And I'm Allison Morgan. We begin with an update on a missing persons case. We are happy to report 83-year-old Shirley Cooey has been found safe. Cooey was reported missing on October 22nd. ECSO billboards were activated with Cooey's photo, and ECSO deputies, along with search crews, worked tirelessly to locate her. On October 29th, she was found safe in Century. She was transported to a local hospital for severe dehydration, but is expected to be okay.
Join us November 7th at 6 p.m. for the Informed Parents Workshop. School resource officers will share important information on cyberbullying, sexting, and juvenile citation program, and how social media can affect our youth. The workshop will be held at A.K. Suter Elementary School. No registration is necessary. There will be an ECSO deputy to direct you at the classroom as you arrive at the school that evening.
Pulling a fire truck for a good cause. Members of the ECSO spent a Saturday this month participating in the first annual Tip Fire Truck Pull Challenge. Proceeds went to the Trauma Intervention Program of Northwest Florida.
Sheriff David Morgan is officially a part of the Rat Pack. Each year, the Rat Pack reunion event honors outstanding community leaders and raises money for the Council on Aging of West Florida and its many wonderful programs that benefit seniors in need. After a quick roast of all the Rat Pack members, each honoree got time to fire back. Instead, Sheriff Morgan took to the stage in Rat Pack fashion and sang a Sinatra song.
That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May.
Thank you to all who participated in Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. The ECSO collected 146.4 pounds of prescription medication. National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day gives citizens an opportunity to turn in unused or expired medication for safe disposal, while also educating the general public about the potential for abuse of medications.
Each week, we like to do a segment here with our Crime Stoppers team, and we brought Deputy Peterson on to talk with us about who we're highlighting in tonight's episode. So, starting off, who do we have?
Well, our three featured fugitives this week is Dominic Renee James. She's 31 years of age. She has a bond of $7,000 for dealing in stolen property and grand theft. So definitely, anybody know the whereabouts of Dominique, we definitely want to get her.
Call us.
Yeah,
Yes.
We definitely want her coming in and picked up. Our next one is Kevin O'Neill Powell. He is one that we have, featured before, but Kevin is wanted for aggravated stalking. I thought that was extremely important. He's a 45-year-old male. Someone with that type of charge, we definitely need to get picked up.
Absolutely.
He has a bond 0, which indicates that that's domestic violence related.
Oh, wow.
So definitely, we just need to get Kevin picked up as soon as possible. Our third wanted fugitive is Brian Matthew Tucker. He also has been someone that has been featured in the past. He's 43 years of age. He has a bond of $5,000. He's wanted for grand theft. His victim was over 65 years of age. So definitely want Brian picked up as well.
Let's go ahead and get him.
Are any of these three fugitives featured on our kiosks right now?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes, they are. Now that the fair has wrapped up, they will be reactivated. They've never gone away, but we wanted to move the focus for some of the other issues that are going on. But yes, they're all going to be featured. They're all on there. So we definitely want people that know the whereabouts, call Crime Stoppers. Let us give you some money for a reward and get these people off the street.
This is the first year that you had the kiosk at the fair. How well did that do?
Well, we always get such good feedback from the public, and I've only recently talked to people that have seen them at the DMV, but at the fair when I volunteered, they love it. They sit there and they're glued to it. I mean, it is pretty interesting because you're seeing all kind of different things. We had one case recently that I think y'all are even talking about. It was a silver alert. We've had all of our featured wanted fugitives as well as deadbeat parents. So, there was one deadbeat parent that even got recognized. And it was hilarious. So it's a lot of fun, but it engages them.
Yeah.
It wants them to work with law enforcement. And that was the whole reason why Sheriff went out and purchased them for us.
And talk about a few of the locations of the kiosks if anyone wants to take a good look at these fugitives.
Oh, definitely. We have one at the courthouse. We have one at the Division Janet Hawley on W Street. Mannheim Auto Auction. We have one at Gulf Winds Bank on 9 Mile. The fair, the water company downtown, gas company as well. We have them all over. It's just
Even in
they're-
the lobby of the Escambia
and the
County
lobby.
Sheriff's
And you know what? Even when people come in, Allison, they stop, they look, and it's just great. It's wonderful, and we've had such positive feedback and a lot of tips.
That's great.
If somebody sees one of these kiosks or sees tonight's episode and recognizes anybody, they can win some money.
Absolutely, by calling Crime Stoppers. The number is always posted, and it's the most common, 433-STOP. That's easy to remember. Or they can text a tip to Crimes. 274637 is the number right off the top of my head. In the body of that message, they can put GCCS. It comes directly to me, and the tip. They can upload videos, or they can go to the Crime Stoppers website directly and submit a tip. It's great. I mean, it's so convenient. Although I'm there, I man the office from 7 to 5. Crime Stoppers will take your tip 24 hours a day.
Great.
We're always
Wonderful.
accessible.
Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Again, if you recognize anybody in tonight's episode, please call 433-STOP.
Every week we bring you our missing persons segment in hopes you can help us locate them. This week we're highlighting 16-year-old Trevor Ross. Trevor was reported missing on October 29th. He was last seen driving a red Toyota Tacoma with unknown tags. We're also looking for 14-year-old Andrea Louise Terrell McGinnity. She was reported missing on October 31st and is a habitual runaway. If you have any information on either one of their whereabouts, we're asking you to please contact the ECSO at 850-436-9620.
Well, it's that time of year again when we're all thinking about the holidays. And here at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, we have a program called Shop with a Cop. So we brought on Ken Simmons with us. Lieutenant, how are you?
I'm fine. Thanks for having me back.
Thanks for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about what Shop with a Cop is?
Absolutely. It's a partnership with the Sheriff's Office and Walmart on Highway 29 and various businesses throughout the county. What we do is we have the school district at individual schools pick the most needy kids that they can find in their schools. We don't select the kids. The counselors, the principals, the other staff at the schools will bring those names to us. And what we do is we go pick up the child from their homes, we take them to Walmart, and we give them gift cards, and they stay with a law enforcement officer, and we shop with them. It's a really, really great program. What we see a lot of is these kids will buy presents not only for themselves but for their families. Socks, shoes, and again, not for themselves. They'll buy stuff for their mothers, their siblings. Last year, I think we did 65 children at, I think, $125 each. My personal goal this year is to do 65 at $200 a piece. I've got a lot of good businesses coming alongside. Carly Bresky at Oaklawn Funeral Home, $1,000. Stephanie Sharp at Precision Door, $1,000.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, these guys know what it means to touch a child's life at the holiday season. So we thank them. We got other businesses helping us, McVeigh Motors, Gulf Coast Seafood, places like that. They're really coming alongside us and helping us with the donations.
In this program, the Escambia County Sheriff's Office donates money towards it, but it's not possible unless we partner with these other businesses.
That's exactly right. The sheriff can give us only so much money. The rest of it comes from private citizens. And again, if somebody wants to help us, I mean, we're trying to do 65 kids at $200. I mean, parents know how much things are this time of year. So $200 will really make a great difference to some of these kids who really don't have much coming their way on Christmas.
And if someone would like to sponsor a child or donate some money, how can they do that?
They can call me. I'll give you my personal phone number, and you guys call me. This is for the kids. It has nothing to do with the officers, though we get a great deal of enjoyment out of it. But this is for the kids, the needy kids in our community. They can call me at 530-1271 or 554-1368. I'll come meet you, do whatever it is we have to do to get some money for these kids. Or they can make a check out to the Explorer Post 117 Explorer Post, Escambia County Sheriff's Office. And again, call me. I'll come get it.
Can you talk about the Explorers' involvement in this program?
Yes, absolutely. Our Explorers are the law enforcement officers of the future. The sheriff has a great interest in the kids learning how to be law enforcement officers and grooming them and showing them what we do at a young age, and it builds a career. So we have them help us. They take some kids, they walk around with us. Some of these kids are going to get a bicycle. I mean, they know exactly what they want. Now remember, if we get a bicycle, we have to get them a helmet. Yeah. So the kids will go in there, they know exactly what they want, they'll go grab that bicycle, but then we have to get the helmet. So we'll send an explorer, hey, go get the helmet for us. Or help us take the bike to the car or the truck or what have you. But yes, we do use the explorers. We use them frequently when it comes to Shop with a Cop and other programs that the Sheriff's Office puts on.
I was very fortunate last year I got to go along with you guys and kind of see these kids and just the joy on their faces to even just be picked up by you guys and brought to Walmart.
Yes.
They were super excited. Can you just talk about what it's like just to see the joy on their faces, just to even be able to spend a few hours with them? Not even the fact that they're shopping, but just to be able to spend a few hours.
Absolutely. Again, we go and pick up the child from their house. We put them in the back of a car. They're not handcuffed or anything like that. They just ride with a police officer. Okay. We pick them up from their house and we take them to the 4th Precinct, which is on Hood Drive across from the 29 Walmart. And then we walk across the street with them. Walmart is gracious enough to give us a grant for $2,500. That helps towards our goal. And they also give the kids a lunch. But they're with a law enforcement officer. They are actually shopping with us. We walk down the aisles. We go to the toy aisles or wherever we need to go. But they're with us the entire time. And once they're done, we check out, we give them something to eat, and take them back to their homes.
And something I found that was very just the nicest thing is that sometimes you guys dig into the bottom of your pockets too.
Yes, yes. It's hard for us as parents or as law enforcement officers to see a kid that he just loads up whatever it is, or she loads up whatever it is they want in that basket, and they don't have really a concept of how much $125 plus tax will be. So, and there's times they're going to go over. And and most of our officers don't have the heart to say, we have to, keep it here. I know an officer that spent another $100 out of his own pocket. So as soon as we swipe that gift card from Walmart, he's pulling out his debit card and he's finishing up. And it's a great thing to see these kids. Again, these are kids that don't have the opportunity to have as much in their Christmas. So that's what we do.
And this has been a successful program for several years at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office.
It certainly has. Commander Tharp, the school resource officer commander, he's also over community services, brought the idea to the sheriff, and he just took it and ran with it. This is my 2nd year involved with it, and again, I set the personal goal of having $200 for these kids. So I'm always out there trying to, hey, help us out, do what you can. And again, it's not so much what the law enforcement officers are doing, it's what the community does, and for these kids that are in need.
A thing I thought was really cool is we go and they take a big group picture right outside of Walmart, and the mounted posse's there. They bring some of the canines out, so they get a chance to actually see some of the stuff that we offer here at the Escambia County Sheriff's
Absolutely.
Office.
It's not just picking them up, throwing them in Walmart, and go shopping. Yeah. There's some time that the officers spend one-on-one with the children. We give them T-shirts. The officers know ahead of time who their shopping partner will be. So we have their T-shirt sizes. When they get there, we suit them up in the T-shirts. The officers talk with them. What are you going to get? What do you want to do? And generally one officer will have 2 kids with him and take them over to Walmart. We walk hand in hand across the street. We stop traffic. We make a big production out of it. And again, we'll have the sheriff's mounted unit there. We'll have a few canines there. And all the deputies will be there.
There's nothing better than to be in that Walmart and just seeing them all with their little list, kind of checking everything
Exactly.
off and making
Yes.
sure. I think one of the things I found so precious last year, like you said, they shop for their family. And there was a little boy, and he did not buy himself not one thing. And I remember the deputy he was with said, that's not okay. So he bought him a present after the little boy had spent all his money on his family.
Things are just so expensive nowadays.
Yeah.
The electronic toys, kids are always wanting those. And if they get something for their parents or their siblings, they don't have a lot to spend on themselves. Again, that's why I made it the goal that we're going to do $200. That's still not very much nowadays, but it makes a big difference. A $200 gift is priceless. Now, we make sure the child buys themselves something too. Yes, you're absolutely right. And we take the gift certificates, and once they're done with them, whatever money's left, we roll it over to the next year. But 9 out of 10 times, there's nothing left on the cards. So I think we got, out of last year, we may have $100 left.
And again, if somebody is sitting at home and they work at a business, they want to know how they
Absolutely.
can donate, how do they do this?
Contact me, 436-9620, 554-1368, or 530-1271. That's my personal number. I'll answer it. Again, Gulf Coast Seafood, McVeigh Motors, Precision Door, Oak Lawn Funeral Home, Roy Kinsey, attorney. I mean, these guys are really helping us out. I'm never going to turn down money for these kids. So if we can do 75 kids at $200 a piece, if the money's there, we'll do it.
All right, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And again, if you want to donate, please call 436-9630 and ask for Lieutenant Ken Simmons. And thank you to all who help support this program.
I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and thank you for watching Ask the Sheriff. This is your chance to ask me any questions you want answered about the ECSO. Our team hits the streets again, and here are some of the questions you asked.
Under what circumstances does a deputy use a taser on a citizen?
Katie asked, under what circumstance can an officer use a taser on someone? We still train in the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Katie. We have what we call a use of force matrix. Some departments have done away with that. It's still within the training of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. And what that is that's an escalating thing that officers try to mentally go through in a citizen contact that doesn't go as planned, meaning that the citizen that you've stopped, that you're having communication with, is not being compliant, meaning they're not following your directions. A simple traffic stop, it would be, sir, ma'am, I stopped you for exceeding the speed limit by this. I need to see your license, registration, proof of insurance, and someone refuses to comply. I'm not going to give you this, I'm not going to give you that. And the officer, gets the information back on running the car tag, and we find out that this vehicle was involved in, or there's a warrant out for the owner of this vehicle. And then the officer now sees the threat level in that particular citizen contact going up. Now, we always start at the lowest level, and that is through verbal commands. We put officers through training called verbal judo. How do you command a situation? How do you get someone to comply with your directions? And you do it by body language, force of the use of your voice, etc., and taking a command position, meaning I am in charge of the situation. Failing that, officers then will go on, hands-on, meaning where I need to may use some police technique to, bring you to come along. They're called come-along techniques that we'll use. Barring that, then they can go to an impact weapon or pepper spray. Impact weapon is called the ASP. It's an expandable baton. Or you can use the chemical spray, again, which is the next level of compliance. Above that then is the taser. Taser is right under the use of a firearm, where it could be momentarily incapacitating for a subject. I can also tell you at that point an officer's on the radio asking for assistance or backup. And then, of course, the highest level that we go to is the use of a firearm. But what most citizens miss is those contacts with a citizen and or subject or suspect, as the case may be. You're completely in charge of that, meaning that if you're compliant with an officer's instructions, we always try to keep it at the very lowest level, meaning that I direct you to do something and you comply. Only during that time, when that juncture is met and a citizen or suspect refuses to comply, does the escalation begin. Now, what I just walked through there for you is a situation where there's a considerable time span and an officer has the time to think through this. Remember, it's not like reciting the alphabet where I start with A and end up at Z. You can start with A and end up in Z in a nanosecond, meaning that a suspect attacks you, or they put their hands on you, or they make a furtive movement, meaning they quickly turn, or they reach into their pockets, or they reach into the console of a vehicle. And then an officer will go from A to Z very quickly, meaning that that use of force matrix that the officers are trained by in the academy at that point goes out the window. Why? Because now it's an officer safety issue, and I'm concerned about my life, the citizens that may be around me, or another officer. So in a perfect situation, that escalation is what occurs, and only then can an officer use a taser. And by the way, the taser is an electronic instrument. So if an officer uses the taser, there's a significant number of reports that they have to fill out. It's also computerized, meaning that we will know the number of times the taser was deployed and the number of times the officer pulls the trigger and administers the electric shock. So it can't be hidden. And so anytime an officer deploys that taser, there is an investigation. It's handled almost like an officer-involved shooting.
What is the most rewarding thing about being sheriff?
Catherine asked about what's the most rewarding thing about being sheriff. Gosh, Catherine, I would sincerely say, I'm almost reluctant to say this because it can come across as, not being completely honest or even, disingenuous. And that is being afforded an opportunity to serve the public, to serve your community. As I've told many people, I was honor to serve my country for my first career. I enlisted in the United States Air Force right after I turned 18, and then after 4 years as an enlisted member, I went back to college and obtained my commission and finished my time in the Air Force as a commissioned officer. And that was a great honor for me to be able to serve my country. And then to be elected a couple of times to serve as the sheriff of Escambia County is also a tremendous opportunity and just an honor to serve the community that I live in. So I would say that's probably the most rewarding thing is to find that lost child, to rescue an Alzheimer's patient, to administer first aid to someone. I will tell you that the fine men and women at the sheriff's office, when we're out and about the community, and the feedback that I get on the tremendous job they do every day in the face of a lot of danger, especially with the mood of our country today. They get up every day and put on the uniform and kiss their families goodbye, and while no one dwells on it, that may be your final meeting with that family member. So, the danger is always there, but they also see it as an honor to serve this community. So, just, proud to be the sheriff and proud to serve with these fine men and women at the sheriff's office.
My question to the police officers is that whether or not tinted windows is a first level offense, where is a reason for them to stop you.
Mario asked a question about the degree of window tinting in vehicles and why is it legal or illegal. The whole issue with window tinting, Mario, is I know contrary to popular belief, it's not to harass citizens or to try to control your ability to tint or not tint your windows or to what degree. It's strictly an officer safety issue. We have meters that are issued and that are set to the state standard for the degree of window tinting. If you're going to get your windows tinted, wherever you go to the tint shop, ask that they be sure to install the tinting on your windows that is legal, and they also have a tint meter. And so only if you ask for the darker window tinting will they put it in. And most legitimate businesses won't do that because they know if you're ever stopped, you will be cited for that. As you can well imagine, if you're a law enforcement officer and you're stopped for whatever reason, and we're now approaching your vehicle and we cannot see the occupants inside the vehicle, we don't know if you're reaching under your seat for a weapon or in your console or in your glove compartment. It's a pretty scary incident for an officer to make any traffic stop today, and especially if we can't see the occupants of the vehicle and what they're doing. We can't even tell when you roll down your window and the officer's approaching your vehicle if you're complying with officers' verbal commands, meaning place your hands on the wheel, or get out of the car, because many times people would tint their back window also. So that's the whole point to window tinting, and the degree that you're allowed to tint it by state statute is for officer safety in those traffic stop situations. So again, if you get your windows tinted, make sure that you ask the company that does it to make sure that it's legal within the state of Florida.
What type of fitness training do police officers have to go through to qualify for officer position?
Elizabeth asked a question about the physical capabilities required to be a law enforcement officer. Elizabeth, instead of going down a litany list of how many push-ups you must do, sit-ups, a 1.5 mile run that's at the academy, recommend that you go online. It's the George Stone Academy. It's it's located here in Escambia County. It's under the superintendent of schools. That's part of the public education system. And also you can contact the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. If you go to our website and pull it up, our requirements, once you graduate from the academy, you also have to pass, as part of your hiring process, what's called the PATS test, which is a physical agility test, where you have to drag a dummy that weighs so many feet in a certain amount of time, going over a fence and walls and that sort of thing. And many times this criteria changes both at the state level and here, dependent upon recent studies that we do within law enforcement as to what is the average number of obstacles that a law enforcement officer has to encounter. How fast should you be able to run a certain amount of time? Well, this also extrapolates itself out to, on our firing range. We go through a couple of different courses. We go through a combat course, an active shooter course that our officers must go through that test their ability in stressful situations. So, I would say go to the websites and you can get the actual numbers, again, of what you must get. I'm not sure if you're training to go to the academy or anticipating of getting in good physical shape to go. but I would recommend that you pull that criteria up. And by the way, you can do that for almost every law enforcement agency. You can look up the physical criteria for the Federal Bureau of Investigation or the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosive organizations if you're thinking about applying for one of those. It's good to know, because that way if you're planning on going into law enforcement, what physical condition must you be in to pass the basic qualifying test to get hired on. Remember, you can also email your questions and ask the sheriff at escambiaso.com. We'll be back next week right here on Blab TV Tuesday night at 8 p.m.